All this week on Farming Today, we're looking at the pressures dairy farmers are facing because of declining prices. But there are some groups who disagree with milk production per se on animal welfare grounds. They also believe there should be no government or European intervention in what they see as a failing industry. The Vegan Society, which supports food production which doesn't involve animals, says the dairy industry is damaging and would be better off without it. Their chief executive, Jasmijn de Boo, told Charlotte Smith more people are turning to dairy alternatives.
We believe that the dairy industry has had its day. It's not really a fair and just system for both farmers, the animals and the environment. We can see that lots and lots of farmers are struggling and going out of business. It's not a proper business model that can sustain itself. We also see that there are lots of animal welfare problems with many cows having lameness and mastitis. It also additionally puts a strain on the environment in terms of contributions to greenhouse gases. And we feel that if we eat the grains grown for farming directly, then we could actually be a lot more efficient.
A lot of farmers would point out that they have very high welfare and that actually the current crisis in the industry doesn't mean that long term the whole industry isn't both financially viable and fair.
Yeah, I believe that welfare is actually not as good as a lot of people claim. The lameness is something that can be 30% in a herd, so that's really high level. And mastitis can also be quite high level, so there's ongoing problems.
But both would be treated by a farmer who had those sorts of problems in a herd.
Yes, it's just that it's inherent in the system because the milk yield is so high that it's completely unnatural. It's almost 3 times as high now as it was 40 years ago. And of course that places a massive strain on the animal. And that's something that we feel is unnecessary because there are plant-based alternatives that people can eat and drink.
How popular are those alternatives among consumers now?
They're really popular, actually. If we can see from the Mintel report that the latest figures suggest that at least 1 in 10 people now drink soy milks and that about a quarter of the people think that plant-based milks are healthier than dairy milks, then we can see there's a massively growing trend. And I think these figures are really encouraging that people are looking towards these alternatives as healthier, ethical, more sustainable.
Now, off the back of the current problems for dairy farmers, you are suggesting that they are subsidised to diversify. Isn't that rather exploiting their misery for your gain?
No, I think we care about every living being, including farmers. We want to see their livelihoods protected, but we want to see that they move away from systems that aren't really viable towards systems that are much better for the environment, for themselves and for the land. And there are lots of subsidies available under the Rural Development Programme, countryside stewardship, protecting wildlife, forestry, water flooding, local enterprises. And actually this is the right time to be switching because we can see that the current system isn't working, so we need to look at alternative ways of farming.
Jasmijn de Boo, and of course we'll be hearing from many different sides in the dairy debate throughout the week.